All right, everybody, welcome back, and we have an absolute 1v9 performance on the bug right here. So early game, I was making a lot of mistakes. Early game, I was playing pretty poorly in the early game, as we'll see later on. But going up against a Lilia, don't really see Lilia in the jungle that much. But right here, she got a pretty good gank off on my bot lane. So I was like, okay, let me try rotate up then, because I did notice that she only had her blue buff. So I tried to do whatever I can, counter jungle, whatever, I could. As right here, we do manage to get the red buff right here, and we do get level 5. So I'm kind of waiting around and trying to see if she's going to come. We do get her flash, but right here I make a tremendously bad, like my flash was really bad after I rewatched it. I basically flashed a little bit to the left. And when I did that, I was out of my auto attack range and my ability range. So I wasn't able to pick up the kill right there on Lilia. So we do a bunch of more farming. As I said, early game was going pretty bad. Like I wasn't able to get ganks off. I wasn't able to do anything really. And we did manage to pick up the U moves. That's just how much like farming we were doing. We literally were just farming my entire jungle and then going over to her red side because we did have the timers on it. And then right here, the Rift Herald and Dragon spawns. I'm like, okay, I have my U moves. Let's try make a play for it. But this Rift Herald here, I mean, a bad play. This absolute asshole Rift Herald comes out all the way here to my jungle. And it makes Vladimir out of isolation damage. But overall, just bad plays on my part, as you can see in the early game. It was just bad overall. The enemy Lilia manages to get the Ice Drake. And then here again, another bad play. The Rift Hero just charges right at me. Lilia picks up the kill. I was out of it. I was like, FF, please. I was just, man, get me out. I can't take this anymore. So, early game going absolutely horrible. I was just playing bad. Like, it was just decision making. Just was on a whole nother level. Right here, I steal Warwick's fruit. And I think this is why he was like, Khazix, you're useless. Because I stole his fruits. And then he must have been like, oh, this is absolute useless jungle. But we finally managed to get our first kill of the game right here. 9 minutes into the game. Absolutely useless. But we managed to turn it around. I'm confident. Some games, I do remember this game, I was quite confident that we can turn it around because they were quite squishy. They had a lot of squishy targets. So right here, we managed to burst Lilia down just enough for the Caitlyn's ultimate to get the shutdown on her. Yasuo ultimates on us, but nothing really happening. This game, we did go for the Maul's second item, mainly because they were doing a lot of magic damage. They had Vladimir, Lilia, and then Janna as well was doing a lot of magic damage. As right here, we managed to get our second kill of the game on a Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa, I do believe, was also going a hybrid build. I think so. I don't remember exactly, but I think she was going like the Nashor's Tooth into like crit as well. And right here, Vladimir, he played very, very aggressive, but the mistake he makes is coming into isolation range for us. So the enemy team does do a little bit of trolling as we manage to pick up a nice, easy double kill right here. And then as soon as we get these kills, this is where we kind of start to lock in and get back into the game. And then right here, a mistake on my part was I invaded Lilia's blue side, and I think they might have had a ward on it. So a good play on their part. They ended up rushing Baron. But right here, again, the enemy team was doing a little bit of trolling. I think they got a bit too comfortable with their lead. And we do manage to pick up the kill on the Vladimir right here. Again, we just clean up this minion wave. We rotate over to the middle. Again, just trying to do whatever I can to play in isolation. We land our spike on the Lilia. And then we manage to burst her down. Absolute one-shot her. And then right here, just kind of hovering around, doing whatever I can, man. And I think this season, Khazix is even stronger than he was before. Mainly because of the crown of the Shattering Queen. Khazix just has absolutely no problem against that. Like, I've been going up against tons of mages that build this item. And all you got to do is make sure you land that ability. And then after that, the enemies start to play a little bit more passive. So Khazix right now, definitely super, super strong. I mean, if you're in the jungle or you want to learn in the jungle, I would say learn Khazix, there's of course other champions that are a bit easier to learn, like Vi, Shyvana, Wukong. But if you're talking about if you really want to just have a champion that isn't that difficult, I wouldn't say he's that difficult to play. He definitely has difficulties, but it's not to the extreme length of like a Lee Sin. You know, I still think Khazix is a little bit easier to understand and play than Lee Sin. As right here, Kai'Sa is in isolation damage, but we fat finger, the flash. We still managed to pick up the kill on the Kai'Sa as the Inferno Drake does spawn up. And we're just trying to make sure, okay, can we stop the enemies from getting the soul? Mainly because it was like, okay, they already got 2 dragons. We really can't give up the soul. So right here, I kind of just trying to position myself around, trying to see if I can actually contest it or do something. But there was so much going on. I had to use my third ability to jump away because of Lilia's ultimate. So I really wasn't able to make a play on it. So pretty bad on my part, just lack of vision and just didn't know really what was going on. As we reset, we picked up the Edge of Night, and another team fight breaks out in the mid lane. And again, just trying to do whatever I can to slow them, you know, make sure I get the shadow of the crown of the Shattered Queen out of the way first before I jump in. Right here, Lilia was making stupid plays all game long. She was just trying to run into us. I think she might have been new to the game, you know. Might have just had a couple of games out on Lilia. But we do manage to get that insane one-shot on the Kai'Sa. And then from there, we got the kill on Lilia. We pick up a couple more kills. We ace them. So like, okay, this is a perfect time to do Baron. So as you can see, we picked up, in the early game, we were doing pretty bad. But then we kind of locked it in, you know, got some easy kills. And then from there, got a couple of items. And right now, we are absolutely carried. It is 23-21. We are 8-2. Also, I do have to apologize again, man, because this game right here, my phone FPS just started stuttering heavily again, man. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it can get really, really annoying. So I think the final, like, 4 or 5 minutes of the game, I really do apologize. But it'll be right after this Elder Drake spawns. So we managed, though the Elder Drake spawns right here. I'm like, okay, we got a kill on the enemy Yasuo. We have an advantage. Let's just try rush the Elder. And as you can see, we're bursting it down pretty fast. I'm like, you know, just try to help me. We can definitely get it nice and easy as Lilia tries to make a play again. But as I said, she was making stupid plays all game long. I think she got a bit too comfortable with the early game lead. And then from there, we were able to secure some nice and easy kills. And right now, we are absolutely feasting. We're almost full build. We are 9-2, doing heavy damage right now with our isolation. And right here, just kind of hovering around, trying to see, okay, can we catch Vladimir or Janna in isolation? And Warwick right here lands a beautiful ultimate. So we jump in, we get the isolation kill on the Vladimir. We are legendary. Pick up the 10th kill of the game right there. And okay, now we're a bit more comfortable. We decide, okay, maybe we can do the Elder Drake. And Yasuo right here, I have no idea what he was trying to do. He just comes in and dies. We do 711 damage with the isolation on him. Just completely one-shot him. I think in his mind, what he wanted to do was dash in and then do the EQ knock-up. I believe so. But as you can see right here, we do pick up the Elder Drake. And my phone just started stuttering super hard. Like, it was dropping. It was, like, super laggy. And even here at the Baron. So right here, we still have the Elder Drake. But the enemy team is super strong. And even with the Elder Drake and the Baron right here, we actually end up losing this team fight. And my phone right here, I had absolutely no idea what was happening. I wanted to try and fight it. But I decided, you know, the best thing I can possibly do is just kind of maybe retreat. Save the Elder Drake and the Baron. So I managed to actually retreat and survive. So I just tried to make sure right here that when the minion wave went, I just gave them the Baron buff. Because I pretty much knew that, okay, there's no way they can push and end the game as long as my minions had the Baron buff. So right here, my phone was still stuttering little by little, but I just wanted to make sure, okay, my minions had the Baron buff. And they do manage to pick up the tier 3, But overall, I was like, okay, we still have the Elder Drake for a couple more seconds. I believe it was around 30 seconds or more. And we still do have the Baron buff as well. So right here, my phone started to cool off a little bit. I noticed Janna retreating in the bush. We get an absolutely massive one-shot on the Janna right there. And at this point, it's just, if anybody gets caught in isolation, it's complete one-shot. There's no way they would be able to survive. As right here, we dash over, and Yasuo tries to come over and contest us. He does take the blue buff, but again, we just absolutely just one-shot him. And like I said, you know, the enemy team really didn't have any squishies. I mean, tanks. So I was really confident even after the horrible early game. I was like, okay, leading into late game, we can definitely carry as long as like I play it properly. And so right now we're absolutely carrying. We're 33 to 28. But even when we got Elder and Baron, there's really nothing much we could do. You know, we're still unable to get tier 3. We finally get tier 3, but still we weren't really able to end the game right here. So Elder Drake is spawning up in about a minute or 40 seconds or so. So I'm just pinging my team, you know what, let's just back out, just reset, and try to go for the Elder Drake instead. So again, just trying to play around my spikes really, because at this point, everybody had crown. I believe Kaisa had it, Lilia had it, you know. I believe Yasuo may have had the Edge of Night. I'm not entirely sure, but it always looked like they always had a spell shield for some reason. So right here, I was just trying to position myself just to make sure that, okay, let them come into us. And again, Lilia, just stupid mistakes on the Lilia's part that puts us in really, really good positions to catch them off guard. You know, they got very, very impatient. We kind of played it a little bit too patient right here. We should have jumped in a little bit earlier. But we pop our stasis. We managed to get a double kill on the Janna. Legendary again. We've been legendary all game long as we pick up the Elder Drake, and we actually managed to push and end the game right here, I do believe, as Caitlyn secures the Elder Drake. As you can see, horrible early game, but we managed to get a couple of kills, early game kills, some nice easy kills, and we managed. Those were the only 2 deaths of the game as well. This one doesn't count. This death really doesn't count because it was like a late game, you know. So 2 deaths in the early game. After that, went on an absolute killing spree. I believe we finished 15 or 17, 15 and 3. And right here, I'm gonna show you guys the stats of my my runes, as we did 37k damage. So if you ever wondered why I like empowered attack, just look at this. The fact that you can do 2,500, almost 2,600 damage with empowered attack is absolutely insane. And of course, first strike, we did 2,200 and we got 2,300 gold. Just overall, these are my favorite runes, especially if you're going up against a comp like this. Like if they don't have any tanks. If they do have tanks, I do change my build. I go for like a Conqueror build. But I hope you all enjoyed. Peace.